Hello, my name is Brian Feeney, Vice President of Global Security Partner Sales at Cisco, and I want to welcome you to the Partner Pour, where I'm pouring fresh perspectives that go down easy from Cisco and our partners. So join us with a beverage in hand to dive deeper into innovation, partner programs and profitability, and security insights to fuel our joint success. Cheers. Today, I'm joined by Peter Bailey, our SVP and GM of Cisco Security. Welcome, Peter.
Thank you. Thank you. Happy to be here.
Well, first of all, since this is the Partner Pour, what is your drink of choice this evening?
Well, I think I was telling you before, I was planning to go outside to grab a beer, but because I have teenagers, I opened up the beer fridge and it was empty. So we have some splaining to do at home. So instead, I went to the wine fridge and grabbed a glass of white wine.
Sounds good. And I'm up here in Bend, Oregon, so I have a Deschutes Brewery Mirror Pond. So you've got the Northern California wines and I've got the Oregon beer covered.
Love it. Love it. Yep.
Hey, you joined us about 6 months ago. What was behind your decision to join Cisco, and what's the opportunity that you saw?
Yeah, well, I mean, listen. First of all, Cisco is a legendary company, so and it just has an incredible role in the world in terms of all the infrastructure we support and all the places we exist and help customers. And so, I'm a cyber guy. I came from a cyber background, and cyber security professionals really tend to be mission-driven people, and actually, part of I think really the fun of being in cybersecurity is actually being able to help customers. And it's my view that as we're going into this next era of AI and the rebuild of infrastructure and rethinking how we deploy and provide security as we're rebuilding an infrastructure, that Cisco has an incredibly important role to play. I think as a team and management team, we understand that opportunity and understand the role we have. And so for me, it was an opportunity to, come into a great team and organization and really pursue what I think is a really important as well as a very significant opportunity to help better secure our companies, our governments, as we're getting into this next era, which has got a lot of new attack scenarios and risks associated with it, and it's going to get a little nutty. So there's a lot of stuff we've got to go do to make sure that our customers stay safe.
Well said, and also very similar themes to why I joined Cisco for this role. Back in November, you and I had the honor of sharing the stage together. It was more of an honor for me, I'm sure. And you shared the critical role that Cisco and our partners play in fighting today's cybercrime. Why does this matter more than ever?
Yeah, I sort of touched on this a little bit before, but the reality is that most of our networks and security controls are static in the way they're configured and the way they respond to threats. And we have security operations centers with humans staffing them, and now more and more AI. So that is a dynamic function, certainly, to look at telemetries that's coming through and reacting to that. But if you think about like identity controls, or we think about how we actually configure our networks or configure access to applications and data and things like this, we're nowhere near sort of the dynamic zero trust world that we sort of have been talking about for 10 years. And when you think about a human hacking into your environment and spending weeks and months going around the network to try to find a target and exfiltrate something or do damage or what have you, that is maybe a risk vector that we understand, and we can think about managing that risk. But when we think about AI agents doing that at machine speed and sort of everywhere all at once, or if you think about AI agents as really being able to conduct very sophisticated attacks, which today might only be in the realm of nation states and not the average cyber criminal being capable of that. So if you think about attacks getting much more sophisticated, much more prevalent at greater scale and greater speed, and the time for like a vulnerability to appear about a piece of equipment and that being turned into an exploit being not weeks but minutes, it's just we're entering into a zone that is going to require us to think differently about security and really ramping up how we think about things like zero trust, because ultimately things like zero trust are going to become more and more important. And so a lot to think about, a lot of new attack surfaces, a lot of new scenarios popping up. And so I'll kind of say that, if you think about the network and the network being everywhere and having visibility everywhere, and visibility being the first step of good security, of being able to be on the seat, right? That is, fundamental to why I think the network is also a really important place to start solving these problems.
Well, absolutely. And you mentioned a unified platform in the story from Cisco. Let's dig into that just a little bit more, starting with Hybrid Mesh Firewall. And how can our partners benefit from our Hybrid Mesh Firewall strategy?
Yes, so hybrid mesh is a great kind of new concept. If you think about the evolution of firewalls and giving way to next generation firewalls and L7 and deep packet inspection and all of that. So what we've done a really great job as a security industry the last 20 years is make things very complicated, lots of point solutions and lots of user interfaces and things not
Right.
integrating together well. And in the last few years, we've seen a platformization trend to really address simplification and consolidation of tooling. And I really see Hybrid Mesh Firewall as an extension of that, where you could write a policy and express it everywhere, whether it's an on-prem firewall, a virtual firewall, public cloud, a Kubernetes cluster. And so really trying to manage a security attack surface set of tools, and specifically around blocking things and segmentation as a unified mesh experience. And that's really where also Cisco, I think, has an advantage, because we have the ability to operate across all those surfaces. And so have been working on something called Security Cloud Control the last few years, which is our cloud management platform that unifies the management of all those surfaces and allows you to drive policy across all of them. And in addition, because you're centralizing things and have a central sort of data plane on the back end, starting to do things like agentic ops, where we're also able to use AI to write policy and manage policy and optimize policy, which is a real big source of toil today operationally. And so in the early days of us deploying this, we've seen huge gain with our customers. And so I think we're very excited about hybrid mesh as a strategy for the industry, but also what Cisco can bring to the table as we're pursuing this.
Right. And with the security cloud control component, I think about the announcement for managed services providers and how they could benefit from multi-customer environments and even managing third-party firewalls, which is a great differentiator for us. Hey, Peter, I get fired up about product announcements, and I know you do too. So we've got some pretty exciting things that have come out in the last few months. Can you tell our audience about that?
Yeah, sure. Well, listen, I think the one that we are most excited about is we've just fully refreshed our firewall portfolio. It's a long time coming. And so the high end, the 6100, which is, I think price performance and scalability is now the best performing firewall on the market. We're super excited about that at the high end for data center and large scale applications. And at the very low end, the 200, which is again a price performance leader for what it can do. And so think full capabilities of, deep packet inspection, TLS decrypt, all that in a small little friendly box that's super price effective. And so, we have seen the resurgence in the last few years of our firewall portfolio, and it's a double-digit grower for us. To put that in perspective on a market that's growing single digits. So we're taking share, we're hearing great feedback from partners and customers. And so, being able to round out the portfolio that way is really exciting for us. We've got a number of things we're doing. I think you mentioned before the MSSP, capability, security cloud control, going multi-tenant was a big one for us. Hypershield we've talked about a lot over the years, and we just are finally releasing on our smart switches, security capabilities through the Hypershield technology, and so delivering security outcomes on switches and routers now. So that's super exciting, because as we think about infusing security in the network to address really these AI use cases, where we want to go right to where the workload is and be really close to securing those workloads. Having security outcome capabilities on switch in line is really powerful, and obviously a lot more cost effective than putting a bunch of dedicated hardware nearby. So we're really excited about those things. I will tell you, there's a bunch coming early next year too. We have our big AI summit coming, so look out for announcements there, followed by Cisco Live Europe and US and also RSA. So you're going to see a number of releases from us in the coming months, and so please stay tuned.
But let's pull on that string for zero trust access a little bit. I know that in November on stage, we spent most of our time talking about that. And as a Cisco partner, why should they really be intrigued and interested by what we're doing in that space?
Yeah. So we've been in the access space forever, obviously, right? Network access, SD-WAN, Umbrella as traditionally like an on-prem solution with DNS and everything else that we're doing there. So the SASE market, which is a secure access services market, combines SD-WAN and the cloud access, secure services edge. And so think, NetScaler and traditionally, Netscope and Zscaler traditionally. So what Cisco can bring to the table is the total solution of both on-prem, private access, cloud access, obviously the firewalling as a service and things like DLP and CASB, bringing all of that together. And when you add identity into the mix, into the background, actually monitoring identity and governing kind of what identities can access a network, you really get into the world of zero trust access. And again, as a tool that is going to become more and more important in the world of agentic and some of the new scenarios we're approaching, zero trust access is going to become increasingly important. And so, Cisco is very well positioned there because we have a large installed base of whether it's SD-WAN or traditional access types of customers. And we've been investing the last several years in the cloud aspects of this, as well as the identity aspects of this. And so we bring that all together in a product called Secure Access. And that's ultimately kind of a single vendor SASE solution with our SD-WAN offering. And so it also represents a consolidation and simplification play with our customers too. So we're really excited about that. That's a new thing in the last few years for us, but we're seeing great success with it in the field and with customers. And I think that's an area we're going to do very well.
And from what I understand, one of the fastest growing products in Cisco security history in terms of new launches.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like it's grown like a weed and super exciting. And, I think we believe we can bring some unique capabilities to the table because of our experience in network, in addition to our experience in cloud. And I think our customers see that. And obviously, a lot of our customers already have SD-WAN, and adding this to that is very simple and easy, and is actually a kind of simpler operational experience than you would if you were to pull a third-party solution in. So I think our customers see that.
Yeah, and I'm hearing the same things as I talk to partners. They say the capabilities, the TCO, the operational simplicities you mentioned are really certainly something that's catching their eye. So always good to get that validation from our wonderful channel community.
For sure. And, I didn't mention before, but, we also got things like Thousand Eyes for network visibility and assurance. I mentioned identity coming into the picture. So there's a lot of things also we can differentiate around, I think, and it's important to also look at those capabilities.
So what about the data story, right? We hear a lot about AI and AI models and how data is the underpinning piece of all of that. Why is data so important, and how is that such a differentiator for Cisco?
Yeah, so I think first of all, we know that AI only gets better with data, and without data, AI is actually not very effective. One of the reasons why we acquired Splunk is Splunk has visibility and access of tons of data and can really help our customers get value out of that data. And so when we think about our strategy of being the leading network visibility and security company for really multi-cloud, including on-prem and private and public cloud, that visibility and analytics layer is the Splunk layer. And so by having that visibility, by being able to ingest not just telemetry from security, but also from infrastructure and kind of machine level data, we can apply AI against that to drive whether it's outcomes for the customer or unique insights. And ultimately, we're going to be able to have an advantage by being able to train our models across a larger data set than a lot of our competitors, frankly, which is going to give us more value to give to our customers. And so we feel really good about the combination of those assets and what that really means in terms of our ability to bring AI to our customers in a way that creates value and is effective.
Absolutely. Well, Peter, I want to thank you. You've been very accessible. I hear from partners all the time about how you've engaged deeply with them, you've listened, you've innovated, and quickly responded to any feedback that they've had. So thank you for that, first and foremost. It is a pleasure to have you on the Partner Pour. And is there anything that you'd like our partner community to know about you, maybe a fun fact or a closing comment that you want to leave with them?
Oh boy, you hit me sideways now. So I'll offer this. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you. And again, one of the reasons I also came to Cisco is because we have the world's best partner community, and go-to-market capabilities. And so when you think about impact and when you have an impact in cybersecurity, in my case, this is a way we can together have incredible impact globally. And that's super exciting for me. I think as a fun fact, I've got 3 boys, like probably many of you have kids out there. And, when I'm not working, my favorite thing to do is coaching my kids or racing down the ski slopes. And just recently, my 7th grader started playing rugby, which is super fun because I played football and rugby in college. And so lately, the latest thing we've been up to is tossing rugby balls at each other and learning how to scrum. And so when you're imagining Peter's not thinking about cybersecurity and work, or thinking about getting dirty and getting bloody and having fun out on the field.
Peter, cheers to you. Cheers to our partners and cheers to Cisco Security. And remember, to our valuable partners, Cisco always has a channel-first approach. We have the security portfolio to back it, and we believe industry-leading profitability. So thank you for your partnership, and thank you for the opportunity to provide secure outcomes for our customers together. Have a great day.